There we go. It is 2:30 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon, and you're watching Innovation Fika with Donny. Every Wednesday afternoon, 2:30 p.m. Swedish CET +1. I go live with my 30-minute coffee break, my Innovation Fika. Fika in Swedish means, well, coffee break. So this is a fast-paced 30-minute sit-down coffee, well, stand-up coffee with interesting people, interesting ideas, interesting subjects, and most oftenly, a lot of good insights and some good learnings. My name is Donny, as you might have guessed already, Innovation Fika with Donny, after all. And I work in Stockholm, Sweden, at the biggest tech university, KTH, at the innovation department there. And I do this every week, as I said, on a Wednesday afternoon. So make sure to follow this show every Wednesday. And all of the recordings of these shows end up in the YouTube channel, Innovation Fika. You can find them on YouTube, 92 episodes after today's episode. And then, of course, I write quite a lot as well. Almost daily posts, have been posting up until a couple of weeks ago, almost daily on LinkedIn as well. And all of those posts end up on Medium. So you can go to my Medium page, which is Donny SC Ligonis, in one word, and my Medium page, and you'll find, well, it's actually 500 posts there on everything, leadership, entrepreneurship, startups, and inspiration as well. Today, however, enough about me, enough about that. Today, we are speaking about mindfulness, this subject, which is kind of something that everybody has heard of, but not many people actually know what it is, and especially not how to practice it. So I've invited somebody who does know not only how to practice it, but also helps other people practice it. And I'm really hoping that she will help me practice it, because as I said in our short interview here before, I've been practicing mindlessness here the last couple of days. So with that, I will invite into the studio Faith. Welcome to my Innovation Fika show.
Hi, Donny.
And good morning. It's morning over there on the East Coast in the US.
Yes. Good morning, Donny. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm so happy to have you as well, Faith. And welcome to this super fast-paced, as we say, the world's fastest half an hour, my Innovation Fika show. And I will start, I'll jump straight in, as I always do, by asking my guest. So, Faith, who are you and what do you do?
I am a life coach helping women overwhelmed by putting everybody else first. And I'm a founder of The Thriving Me, where I have created a 6-step coaching program for individuals to practice gentleness with themselves. I've been in mental health field for 20 years and have helped hundreds of clients move towards stress-free lives.
Wonderful, wonderful, and thank you, and keep up the good work. And it feels like it's needed more and more. You must have been following the whole. I'm just diving straight into the subject here as well, and especially on the topic of mental health, which has become a very big topic the last couple of years, especially online and in social media and so forth. You must have seen sort of this development happen. Did it sort of overwhelm you as well, or was it like watching a very slow train crash happening?
A little bit of both. I think mental health workers went through the trauma with other people, and I call it trauma because trauma is defined as ordinary people going through extraordinary circumstances. And so mental health workers, obviously medical workers, continue to work through all of it. And, I have 3 kids myself. We were home working, thankfully working, but, doing the distance learning thing. And trauma comes in waves. And we're definitely, kind of seeing the waves. It's not over. I'm seeing it still in kids afraid to kind of socialize because they were quarantined for so long, the list goes on. So yes, we are seeing the effects of that. I think part of the mindfulness piece is like when we were home, a lot of us transitioned to homework, working from home, and many managers, companies felt they needed to micromanage their workers, and um, and what was happening is workers were working harder. Um, and myself, I think, oh, I have 5 minutes, I can throw in some laundry. Let me do more. Let me multitask. Let me see what's on my phone. Let me do, we produce. In America, especially, uh, we pride ourselves on productivity and efficiency. Let me do more, more, more. So, um, but I got a secret for you, Donnie. Multitasking is not not as effective as we might think it is. It's not helpful for us. So, we need to take a step back, and again, this thing called mindfulness. We might think, oh, meditation, we think, oh, that's not for me. That's kind of
Mm.
woo woo kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Uh, but mindfulness doesn't have to be an hour-long meditation. It can be building mindful moments into your day. And I think it's so important because we it, it's not worrying about the future. It's not thinking about the past. When we think about the past, we get depressed. When we think about the future, we're anxious. We, you know, think of worst case scenarios. Our brain just automatically goes to the negative. Our brain is created for that. So you're a normal human being. If you're thinking about the negative and you're kind of thinking about the worst case scenarios, you're judging everything. But we need to build in the mindful moments to be able to appreciate life.
Yes, and I'm nodding here, and there is. I know for a fact. I mean, there is research to actually prove what you just said as well, with the multitasking, and how much time does it take for the brain to readjust to a new task, and
Mm.
then readjust to the previous task. And if you look at the actual research, you realize that you're losing so much. And especially if you're actually, this is the funny logic with this is, if you're actually into productivity, then multitasking is what you should not be doing, because
Mm.
that destroys your time efficiency.
Mhm.
So I mean, so both in when it comes to mental well-being, but even to prove the point on productivity, being focused and on one task at a time, as Ami comments here. Thank you very much. One thing at a time. I mean, yeah, agreeing with that, is actually more productive as well. But mindfulness, then. Okay, so what is mindfulness in your definition of it? If we're going to sort of.
So again, really just focusing on the moment. Our brain, again, is created to um, almost make judgments, on our thoughts. We gather information through our eyes. We have to take information in, and our brain always has to make a judgment about it. And so we are constantly making judgments. And so we need to slow our brain down and to take those mindful moments again. Like I said, it could be maybe I love going outside. It could be taking a walk outside. It could be the 5 minutes before you, if for those of you that are going to an office, you know, before you're getting into it could be as you're sitting at a stoplight, kind of taking those moments and taking a deep breath and not thinking about what's going to come. You think about it, we wake up in the morning and we're always thinking, okay, I'm going to see this person, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then we are making judgments, and those negative thoughts creep in, and we're constantly struggling against. And those thoughts affect how we are going to feel. They affect how our mood is. So we do need to practice, recognizing that we are human beings, not human doings, and be able to let those negative thoughts kind of flow through our brain and just let them pass through.
So how would I? You gave some really good examples there, of moments through the day. One of my favorite examples in a very, very short moment in a day is, and this might sound strange, but I'm not I don't practice any specific religion. I'm, but I'm sort of conscious about the whole sort of world around me, but the saying grace, before a meal, you sit down, and different people have different rituals for saying grace. But for me, at dinner, sitting down
Mm.
and not saying grace per se, as in thank you, but sitting down and just giving myself, I mean, it's 45 seconds. I just, sit there and try and sort of land myself in there and then. And I'll actually be thankful for that I've managed to put food on the table for myself again, and that I'm doing it with people that love and hopefully love me as well. And just that moment is such for me, a big thing. It's a very, very short moment in the day, but it means a lot in, sort of grounding me in where I am. I guess that could be defined as some kind of mindfulness.
Yes. What you're talking about too is a great lesson for families. I've worked with kids in the past, and when you pause before you shove food in your face,
Mhm.
you're you're teaching your kids, we don't jump into things. We practice patience. So that is a good practice. I like teaching my clients about the earth, air, water, fire technique, where have you heard of this one? Where you 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 know you can use it as a strategy when that anxiety starts coming up, and you ground yourself. You just think about your feet. If you are thinking about your feet in this moment, you can't think about anything else. So thinking about grounding your feet, and then air, taking deep paced breaths, those nice deep belly breaths, as I call them. And then water. Our system stops producing saliva when we are anxious or nervous or in that fight or flight state. So taking sips of water, thinking about a lemon, just producing saliva can help. And then fire is thinking about using our imagination to think about a calm place. You know, my my partner and I traveled to Belize like way, way back, and I still think about the beach.
Mhm.
So,
Wow, that was really, really good. So incredibly concrete as well. I could really both
mm,
feel and go that. Thank you. And to everyone watching, of course, post questions and comments in the feed. We are live for that reason as well, because we want to interact with everybody online. So please keep interacting. Send in the comments and questions. And I know that you also, another thing that you also talk about a lot is the working with your inner critic. We have
mhm.
this, the voice in our head. Could you elaborate a bit about that as well?
That goes along with being mindful. I think, being mindful of those negative thoughts that we are fighting against. And when we get into that fight or flight mode, we are very easily berating ourselves. We think that it's very motivating to berate ourselves. We think if we don't berate ourselves,
Mhm.
that we'll be lazy or we won't be motivated. And but that's not true. Are we going to work for a manager that's berating us, or micromanaging us? Are we going to work harder for that manager? Or are we going to work harder for a manager that's telling us we're doing such a good job and we are appreciated and the positives? So the motivation is going to come from the positive. It's okay to be self-compassionate. It's not selfish to be self-compassionate. And I love the difference between self-esteem and self-compassion. I think self-esteem is so tenuous and teaches us to compete against each other and teaches us to that we're supposed to be better than somebody else. But self-compassion is really being mindful and checking in with ourselves and realizing that we're human. It's established from that we're not perfect. We're imperfect beings. And so of course, it's okay that we make mistakes. And
Mhm.
um, so being self-compassionate, I think when we are compassionate with ourselves, we are going to be more compassionate with others. And if we can be compassionate leaders and innovators in our work, then we can reach so much more people. We can connect. We can use that creativity in being able to reach the people that we're working with, the people that we're serving.
That is really, really interesting. And that's a follow-up question I have there, because I know I mean, I know for a fact, but I mean for myself as well, that also, helping others helps yourself as well. And, it goes both ways kind of thing. But then where to find the balance between, helping others to the extent that you become almost self-destructive and disintegrating yourself in your sort of strive to help other people, and
Mhm.
finding the balance there. How do you help people do that?
So that's such a good point because I think that I personally feel like I have such a passion for this because I've gone through a process where I feel like I kind of lost myself. I had I had twins, which is quite the adventure. And I think I lost my identity and when that happened and you just kind of explore that new like adventure. And so I think that when I am helping other people, I'm, making sure that they are paying attention to being gentle with themselves, talking in a gentle way with themselves. And, we make judgments all the time on ourselves and thinking that oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing a good job. It's especially parents. I think
Mhm.
we worry about like, are we doing good enough? And I think that there's a lot of pressure put on um, parents, especially now. And so I am helping people be mindful of the inner critic, be mindful of the thoughts that are coming in that you need to, accept reality, accept the pain and difficulty, and it is what it is. But then know that's normal. There's other
Mhm.
people that are in the same boat as me. And I like to say, add "it's okay" to the end of
Mhm.
your sentences. So,
Mhm.
I'm doing my best and that's okay. And that's
Mhm.
good enough.
But I think that's, I mean, again, I'm nodding here, and because I think that one thing that often is that people, I'm generalizing here, but people tend to get worried because they are worried, and they get depressed because they're depressed. That, it kinds of a, you're by yourself, and it's this negative spiral going down, and it's hard to break that, that negative spiral, and I think it's really, really important to be able to sort of step out of it as well, and look at it from the outside, and say it's okay.
Mhm.
It's going. I'm okay. It's going to be okay, and find that sort of getting back up again, because I can definitely relate to the fact that it's when the head starts spinning, when in here, and you start
Right.
only speaking to yourself. It's sometimes like, let's see. Okay, here's a question, a good question from follow up to Madoni's question for Faith. What about the people who try and do everything to keep themselves from putting their weight on anybody else? I don't want to be somebody. Is that, I'm thinking, I'm interpreting this as in, I don't want to be to any trouble, so I won't, that kind of thing. What would you say to this, Faith?
Right. I talk about different parts of us. And I think that we do, those of us that serve other people that are caretakers, we do have that caretaker part to us. And I tell people to be curious about that and what need is that meeting for you? And is there another way that you can meet that need? And also putting boundaries with people, making sure that you are taking care of your own needs is is actually caring for others. Um, you're teaching other people how to have boundaries in relationships. One thing that I've learned recently is asking my friends, "Do you have the emotional capacity to listen to me right now?" I think that's a very healthy way of approaching things. Because we are all carrying our own burdens, loads, stress, and so I think learning those boundaries and being able to really and it's a discovery process to learn about our own needs.
Mhm.
So I think it's being curious about what does that part of me need.
And I know that when we started out this the session, and will be before as well, we talked about this, about how the whole business aspect of it as well, and how do you see that mindfulness can sort of play into business? I mean, many of the people watching the show are entrepreneurs, founders, startup founders, or some large organizations as well. But how would you say this connects to a business, reality?
I do I do think being mindful allows you to be self-aware, and really that emotional intelligence is so important when you are working with others. And I think we can become some of us can become focused on that logical side of things, as I call it, left brain um, strategy and problem solving, which is very important and very good. But we can't leave out the warm heart, passion, connection of the right brain. And so I think really being mindful of how we are presenting ourselves. It can even be as simple as being mindful of, okay, what's going on in my body? What's going on in my brain about this meeting coming up? Or what's going on about this TED Talk coming up? and
Okay.
and how am I feeling about this? Am I feeling and also I think it's really important that we open ourselves up to a different perspective. I think being mindful of what's going on for ourselves is very important. I mean, we live in a world where we need to be open and willing to listen to other people's perspectives.
Yeah.
And so, this can really be powerful to be able to decrease stress, but also diffuse conflict and really be able to empathize with others.
Mhm. Yeah. I'll actually connect that one, because I have been thinking about exactly this when it comes to the TED Talk, the TEDx talk that I'll be doing here soon this coming weekend. Is that I've been feeling all of this pressure and all of the stress and the need to deliver, and I have to be good, and what if they don't, the whole everything like that. And then last night I actually took a step back from my script, and I went, sort of, stop. This is supposed to be fun. You're
Mm,
supposed to be enjoying yourself. This is it's a fantastic, fun, happening opportunity. Just that probably
yeah,
asked you to do it because they might have seen you having fun like this. So
right.
don't become somebody else. Be, find yourself and have fun.
Yes, live
Um,
according to your values. Yes.
and that was a super big insight for me actually last night, when I was like, I have to think about this in a different way. I have to go out there and have fun, and enjoy
Mm,
it, because otherwise I won't even know where I've been.
right. Right.
I'm looking at the timer. It's actually almost 5 to 3. This is the world's fastest half an hour, and we never leave the session without giving our viewers some top 3 concrete tips. You've actually touched on some really, really good insights, and I love the method you went through there, the grounding one. That
Mm,
was, I'm gonna actually, I'll keep, that's a
mm.
keeper. Then going straight into the end of the show here with Faith's top 3 tips for working with mindfulness and getting started with it. Tip number 1: be present.
Mhm.
Please elaborate.
Yeah, being self-aware of what's going on in my body, what's going on in my brain, and that emotional intelligence of being self-aware of, am I bringing judgments to the table? And it's okay that I am, but being aware of those judgments.
Very good. Tip number 2, be kind to yourself.
To yourself. Treat yourself as your best friend would. Why do we treat everybody so much better than we treat ourselves? We should be our biggest cheerleader. And if we can do that, then we have the capacity to be compassionate to others and to be able to have that creativity and connection with others.
And tip number 3, be purposeful.
Be purposeful. That's exactly what you were doing last night. You were taking a step back and saying, what do I care about? What are my values? What am I passionate about? I make sure that I get a chance. I love being outdoors. I care about being wellness. I make sure that I get a chance to do some of my work with clients outdoors. I build that into my schedule. And so what are you passionate about? What do you value? Because uh, what is the purpose to life if we're not living according to those things? So really
Exactly.
incorporating that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Incredible. Such a good summary there as well. And lots of good comments here as well. That's one last one here. Yep. Watch, notice, observe, acknowledge, and let go from Ami there. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for commenting and being a part of this. This is, as I said, it's the world's fastest half an hour. It's my innovation Fika. I will end off here by just commenting as well on the purposefulness that you mentioned in the end, because as you say, what's the purpose if you aren't purposeful?
Right.
We have, and said in the best possible way, we have a short time here together, not only here today, but in a general sense as well. So make it purposeful, make it intentional, as Tara, another of our friends, usually says.
Mm.
Be intentional and have and find your purpose and work with that and align yourself with that. And as you said, be kind to yourself and ground yourself in the present. Incredibly insightful session. Thank you so much, Faith, for joining me today.
Thank you for including me in this. I've had so much fun.
Oh, and I
And
wish you.
if people want to reach out and
Oh
learn
yes.
more about mindfulness,
Wait.
feel free to
We have
DM
more.
me.
We have more. Here, look,
Oh, okay.
thethrivingme.com. There's a web address there, thethrivingme.com, and there's also a Facebook page, facebook.com/thethrivingme. You'll find Faith there. So connect to her on Facebook or go to her webpage or connect to her on LinkedIn. Of course, I know you're new in on LinkedIn. So make sure to connect with her on LinkedIn and help spread the word. And here as well. Thank you, Donnie and Faith, for the insightful session. Thank you so much for joining. I'll say
Thank you for
everybody out
joining
there.
us.
And with that, I will wish you a great day ahead, Faith. I will wish everyone
Yes.
fantastic rest of the week, and I will see you back here Wednesday next week, same time, same place. And thank you all. Have a great day. Thank you for today.
Thank you.